You wonder what's on this man's mind when he gazes upon all of this inside the stadium that bears his name. Maybe it's the 314 career wins, or the 2 national championships, or how he helped put Richmond on the proverbial map. Or perhaps he's thinking about how none of this would have been possible had he acted upon the one and only regret Coach Roy Kidd ever had.
I was offered a job at Marshall, but I didn't take that. But that might have been a mistake as I look back. But if I'd taken that job, I'd have been in that wreck.
That wreck? Southern Airways Flight 932, carrying the Marshall football team home in 1970. All 75 people on board were killed. The coach's only regret saved his life. He stayed in Richmond. A life-altering decision in more ways than one.
Well, it was just home to me, I went to school here, it's my school.
And it's all he's ever known. A coaching career that spanned 6 decades began at Madison High School, where he also coached baseball and basketball. And he learned the art of recruiting at a very young age. When his youth baseball team needed a coach, he went to his 6th grade teacher.
He said, well, I don't know nothing about baseball. I said, don't worry about it. I said, I'll keep the score. I said, I'll make the lineup. I'll put everybody's positions down, where they play, what position. I know who the pitchers will be. I said, I know everything. You just act like you're the head coach.
And that's all it was, just an act. Because in reality, even as a kid, he was always Coach Kidd. Now at 89 years old, nothing's changed. Players 70 years younger, making it a point to stop by, shake his hand. Maybe even get a little advice on how to shed a blocker.
Well, it just tickles me, I love it when my ex-players come around.
Ex-players like Jake Johnson. He's now the defensive coordinator here.
Coach was kind of a father figure for us. It was things that you go to talk to him about if you need something. And he was a guy that showed you tough love, too.
John Revere got some of that tough love after scoring against Middle Tennessee.
I was going into the end zone after I caught it, and I had it up. And the ball kind of slipped out of my hand. Well, of course, I maintained control and went in the end zone with it. And then I came to the bench, and he came over and he says, I just want you to know one thing. If you had to drop that ball, you'd have been walking back to Richmond.
They could joke because they had won that day. They did an awful lot of that around here. Coach Kidd is number 10 on college football's all-time wins list. They went to 4 consecutive national title games, won 16 conference championships. 10 times he was named Coach of the Year. Those things mattered to Coach Kidd's players back then, but it's not what they remember about him now.
The people I deal with and the circles I travel in certainly understand the magnitude that Coach Kidd has placed on this university and this community, and even the state.
If you weren't doing the right things, he'd pull you inside and he'd tell you about it and get you going, but you wanted that. And as a player, you wanted a coach that would stay on you and do things like that, and he was happy to oblige.
So maybe that's what runs through his mind when he looks out at all of this. Not the wins, not the championships, not the statue, but the thousands of lives he impacted over 38 years, including the man's who's now roaming the same sideline.
And Walt Wells was on my staff for a while. I tell you, he's a good coach. He'll do a good job here.
How could he possibly fail? He learned from the best.